Truth and Treason takes place during wartime Germany and contains a really good message, and I hope the intended audience picks up on what it's trying to tell them. Hey, I'm Mike. I studied film, I work in TV, and I love movies. This review goes out to my small but loyal fan base at Xavier High School in New York. Thanks for recommending this movie to me, guys. I really enjoyed it. Truth and Treason is based on Helmut Hubner, a real historical character. He was the youngest person tried and executed for treason during wartime Germany for speaking out against Hitler. He was 16. One of his friends comes upon a wireless, which is another name for a shortwave radio, on the black market. It allows Helmut and his friends to listen in on broadcasts from outside of Germany where they live. They're able to hear reports from the Allied perspective and without the filter of the German government's propaganda machine. Helmut realizes they're being lied to. One of their friends, Solomon, is Jewish and is abruptly rounded up and put in a concentration camp by the SS. Helmut can't seem to square what his government is doing with what he's learning in church. In fact, even the bishop at his church puts up a sign that says, "No Jews." At a church? But that goes against everything Jesus taught, doesn't it? Welcome all the Lord's followers, even those whose faith is weak. Don't criticize them for having beliefs that are different from yours. Romans 14:1. It isn't clear what specifically the Germans were told regarding the Jewish people. The movie doesn't go there. We know from history that the German government painted the Jewish people as a scapegoat for all of Germany's problems. It mostly shows a populace either afraid to speak truth to power or blindly following. But the movie's message is crystal clear. Jewish people are Germans. They make up the fabric of Germany, so why are they being rounded up? Solomon says it before they take him away. He is as much a German as Helmut is. Then it's repeated again later when Helmut takes a coworker out on a date. He brings her to the birthplace of famous Jewish-German composer Felix Mendelssohn, whose music they are no longer allowed to listen to because he was Jewish. The Jewish people are as much a part of Germany's culture as anyone else. Helmut borrows a typewriter and begins writing up short missives speaking out against the Nazi Party and the crimes they're committing. He uses a mimeograph machine at his church to make copies, and he and his friends plaster Hamburg with the anti-fascist material. Because that's what you call someone who speaks out against the fascist regime. Yeah, I said it. Helmut, the protagonist of Truth and Treason, is a member of Antifa, and he's the good guy. In a particularly heavy-handed but moving scene, Hamburg is being bombed by the Allies, and at the same time, Helmut is standing on a rooftop bombing the streets with his flyers. His words are his ammunition. Yeah, the film isn't subtle. When Helmut is captured, there are several shots which make him look Christ-like, with rays of light finding him and lamps creating halos around his head. He's being martyred for his words. We get it. He's a living example of Christ's teachings. The theme is crystal clear. What Hitler and the Nazi Party were doing to the Jews goes against Jesus' teachings. Now I'll say that again and replace Hitler with Trump, Nazi with MAGA, and Jews with immigrants. Oh yeah, I said the film wasn't subtle. Whether intentional or not, Truth and Treason is telling a story about today's political climate through an historical lens of World War II Nazi Germany, and all the parallels line up. I mean, why else would you release a film like this at this particular moment in time if not to make the point that immigrants are integral to the fabric of American life just as Jews were in Germany during World War II? The movie draws more parallels and warns the signs of a fascist regime are on the rise. They silence dissenters. They rig the courts in their favor. The list goes on and on. Social media is today's version of Helmut's letters. There's an army of Helmuts out there today posting on social media and fighting against what they see as the rise of a modern fascist regime. But it's easy to see when all this plays out during World War II. We know how that ended. It's much harder to see now. Angel Studios, who produced Truth and Treason, produces and distributes what they call value-based entertainment. Their primary audience is likely Christian conservatives. This is why the movie is so strange to me. The modern-day Christian conservative is most likely someone who voted for Donald Trump and are on board with what his administration is doing. But I believe the film was released now to tell people, right-leaning Christian conservatives specifically, that what is happening right now goes against Jesus' teachings just as it did when the Nazis did it during World War II. There are a lot of characters in the film that are on board with Hitler's plan and then come to have a change of heart because of their interactions with Helmut, specifically the SS soldier who arrests him and the bishop at his church. And maybe Helmut's parents. Helmut's father is described as a good party man, and the film doesn't conclusively tell us how he feels at the end. In fact, it might be that Helmut and his father will never see eye to eye, encouraging today's youth to think for themselves. The film is genuinely good and contains a really good message about standing up for your principles in spite of grave consequences. Truth and Treason was originally pitched as a limited series titled Truth and Conviction, but was later changed to Truth and Treason when it was decided that the project would have a theatrical release. A 4-part extended version is being released on Angel's streaming platform. As always, I'd love to read your thoughts on Truth and Treason in the comments below. Film is about community. I'm Mike, and I love movies.